Okay, so yes, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining into our Web3 startup pitch. Today we will see four very interesting startups. One sec, sorry. Yeah, so we will see some very interesting European startups in the Web3 space. Today we have a sort of motto where we try to check the founders and also the quality of the founders, the story of the founding team. Let me quickly run you through the agenda. So today we will have a quick intro to who we are, so that you also know what sort of event you have signed up for. And then we will run through the audience and also see some of the pitches. By the end of the pitch, we will then have a quick Hall of Fame where we rate the best performing ones for today based on the jury, and then we will wrap it up. So quickly to myself, I'm Max. I'm today moderating together with Melissa, my colleague. We're both at Blockchain Founders Group, located in Germany, a venture capital firm. I'm responsible for the head of corporate development side of things. We run our own incubator where we, together with entrepreneurs in the European space, found crypto startups. So anyone who is pre-idea, pre-product, pre-revenue, feel free to hit me up, and then we can connect and chat about any interesting ideas that you might have. Briefly also to our background. So together with the executive team, which is a quite broad mix of serial entrepreneurs with successful exits, blockchain experts, and also from the venture capital side and the regulatory side, we have a quite strong executive board. And in terms of the core team, who mainly do operations and business development, we also, again, are responsible for the incubation side of things. Today, we invited three quite interesting persons to judge today's pitches. On the one hand side, we have Tobias from the Blockchain Founders Fund. We have Sarah, investment manager at Crypto Finance VC, and Pascal, who is a serial entrepreneur who also raised funds for his crypto startup. So I want to give the opportunity for you three to briefly introduce yourself. Tobias, do you want to start?
Sorry, absolutely. So I'm calling out of Singapore right now, so it's a nice evening here in Asia. We run Blockchain Founders Fund, which is essentially an early stage venture capital fund focused purely on Web3. We just closed a $75 million fund, so we're excited to invest in new companies all around the world. We typically write checks up to $5 million USD across early stages at first, and then we do like to follow on across like a Series A or B. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. If you have any questions, obviously let me know. And I'm excited to get to know the project and, of course, all the other judges today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Then Sarah.
Hi, my name is Sarah. Great to be here today. So I'm working as investment manager for Crypto Finance. We just got renamed, so we are now Vanagon Ventures, and we are small crypto VC focusing only on Web3 startups, investing in pre-seed and seed. And yeah, I'm also like advisor to BFG, and I'm really looking forward to the next 1.5 hours today. Thank you.
Thank you. Then Pascal.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Pascal, and I've been in the fintech space for a while now. So I co-founded this company called Bolt Engine, which is a neobank based out of Singapore. We raised for this company pre-series A round, seed round, of course, as well. And I also founded a crypto venture, which is very much in the insurtech space. Did an IDO for this project, and also myself involved with some grants from layer ones. So yeah, happy to be here today and judge the participants here and the presenters from the founders lens, I guess.
Excellent. Thank you, Pascal, also for your introduction. I'm gonna now hand over to Melissa, who will introduce the startups and the further procedures.
Hi, thanks, Max. Thanks for the introduction. So now I will move on to introduce each of the startups. Next slide. So exactly in this pitching order, we will first have Team Tracifier. They are a platform that enables supply chain traceability and sustainability management, powered by NFTs and blockchain. Next, we have Team NRverse, one of our very own BFG Superstar incubated startups that deals with bringing renewable energies into the metaverse to ultimately achieve sustainability in Web3. Third, we have Team bloXlab that is pitching from bloXmove. They are a solution provider working to create a global, decentralized, and collaborative mobility alliance alongside to create an efficient green energy reality. And lastly, we have Team FastTagger, who intends to aggregate payment data for African SMEs to give them more data-driven information and decisions regarding the purchasing habits and decisions of African consumers. So each of these startups will have 7 minutes to pitch and 4 minutes for a question and answer session with the judges. After all the teams have pitched, there will be an 8-minute segment for audience Q&A, where we will open the floor to questions from our audience listening in on Zoom and on YouTube. Thanks, Max. Next slide. As for the judging criteria, each startup will be evaluated based on four of these criteria. So the first will be market potential. Startups will be evaluated on whether they are indeed dealing with a legitimate problem faced by many, and whether the solution that they have proposed is effective and useful. Next, we have technical feasibility, which is whether there is a novel demonstration of using blockchain technology. Third, we'd like to hear about startups' funding plans and whether there is excellent or optimal management of funds within the team. And most importantly, we are looking at the strength of the founding teams. So we want to look for a team that is well equipped. They are experts in their industries and they're confident to deliver, what they have promised in the project roadmap. So without further ado, let's kickstart the pitching and let's have Team Tracifier.
Thank you very much, Melissa. So I'm sharing my screen. Yes, can you see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Hi everyone, it's Mina from Team Tracifier. I'm co-founder and CEO of Tracifier startup. We are digitalizing trade using blockchain technology. Just need to organize my screen. Okay. Yes, so sorry, I'm just organizing the screen. Sorry. Yes. So have you ever asked or thought why by every distraction, why supply chain processes is also disconnected? So here, let me tell you why. Because, we have three flows in every international trade. We have the flow of goods, the flow of documentation, and the financial flow. And all of these flows are connected to each other. So in this use case and the current presentation, we are focusing on the documentation flow because the flow of goods are not possible without the flow of documentation, such as bill of lading, invoices, certificate of origin, certification of testing in laboratories, and so far so good. So such information is currently provided and exchanged on paper or electronic form. However, the paper-based process is still prevalent in foreign trade transactions due to complicated business processes and lack of acceptance of electronic forms from customs authorities. So that creates some problem. The widespread use of paper-based documentation increases the opportunity for malicious behavior. It creates opportunity for fraud. The manual process of verification in supply chains make the trade very long. And the risk of losing the trade documents create high costs for companies and cause billions of dollars worth of annual losses in income. So at Tracifier, we are going to transfer these challenges to opportunities. So we are tokenizing the trade document and supply chain data and combining this with NFTs and blockchain smart contracts that allow us to automate the supply chain data collection and document verification process. So we are doing that with two modules. the supply chain track and trace module empowered by IoT devices. It helps us to trace the movement of physical goods, and we can even like collect data from supply chain. And then with autonomous document verification tool empowered by smart contracts, we are automating the document verification process by legally binded digital seals and e-signature. So these two tools are kind of complementary, and they're completing each other in a way that, as soon as the data is collected, it has been verified and has been distributed among the supply network. So let me give you an example. Normally, in chemical analytical testing laboratories, they are normally engaged in every trade, because you cannot sell any product in the market without testing that in laboratories first, and then get a certificate, and then you can sell the product to the next supplier. But in this process, although if it's in email-based and digital-based certification process, it still includes lots of communication from laboratories. For example, laboratories are selling the certificate to exporter. The exporter need to send it to manufacturer. Sometimes manufacturer don't trust the exporter. Then they are directly coming to labs and say, hey, if this certificate I receive is correct or no. And the same is normally goes until end user, like retailers. Even sometimes retailers comes to lab and say, hey, if this certificate is correct or no. So what we are doing, or how we are solving at Tracifier, is we are transforming all these, manual and a step-by-step communication process, which include around 15, email, at least a 15 email communication, to we are creating a shared ledger of documentation, or a united place which every user can have access to that. For example, as soon as laboratories are onboarding the system, are uploading the certificate, the exporters, manufacturers, certifieds, all of these guys, they have access, and they have also permissionable access. And using blockchain and NFTs, in this process, we can transfer the ownership of data between these parties. So in this case, we are connecting the network together. We are managing certification fast and in real time, and and the process is also traceable. So a benefit of using this solution of optimizing the documentation flow is definitely, saving the business is around 10 days. It's based on our estimation and the use cases which we implemented. We are targeting the traceability market, and the market is also really growing worldwide in Europe, and we believe we can acquire 5% of this market until 2028 in Europe, because the market is really potential. Our business model is SaaS-based, so we have a starting coin, and we are charging per extra document and users, and we are targeting the most of supply network players. Our target market, or our competition, is with two different markets: is supply chain management segment and also document management segment. But because we are blockchain based, we are, for example, using SSI credential with partnership with other startups, and we're using, like, for example, NFT, and definitely affordable pricing structure give us a priority to other two existing use cases. So I will skip this. We are currently recognized in the market. We have currently investors. We are in seed stage. We have currently paying customers. For example, we are working with CMA CGM, which is the third biggest shipping company in the world, located in France. We got fund from European Union and also Enterprise Singapore. And we had a very successful summertime, which we were able to onboard about 100 laboratories in our pipeline. The roadmap is about last year, we all built our team and our MVP. We raised a fund, we joined different program, and we are making the third version of application at the Q4 of this year. And from Q1, we are looking to raise fund again to strengthen our team. And we were recognized in different programs, especially also from blockchain as a, we also were recognized as the winner of the German Blockchain Award in 2021 and different other programs. So if you want to know more about Tracifier, please feel free to reach the Supply Chain Management Startup Handbook. And yeah, and contact me directly, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mina. So now we will move on to the Q&A. Yeah, we have 4 minutes.
Maybe I can directly start. So the first question that came to my mind is, where do you start your strategy, or how is your strategy to get your customers? I mean, there are so many people in the process, and do you start with the people who produce the product, or with the transportation companies, or what's your entry point to get your clients?
So our entry point and also our kind of USP compared to other existing solution in the market is our connection with certification laboratories, because we have like the founding team have experience in the food and certification market, and we know like how important and important are, you know, for example, testing certificate for especially the food market products. That product need to be tested, and this document are exist in several steps. So this is, I should say, certification market is our initially, but in general, if we apply that, in general, we are going toward the parties who are producing lots of document and papers. So we want to optimize that process. And you know, because it's like kind of a networking effect. So laboratories are sending certificate to a manufacturer. So manufacturer need to receive it. They also need to subscribe to our system, and also the following parties.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Hey Mina, I would have a question regarding your pricing and cost structure. So you were saying your SaaS model is costing $25. As far as I remember, that was annually. Is that correct?
No, so it's a monthly base, and it's based on the document which has been registered into our system. So we have a limited number of, for example, you can put 10 document and you have 1 user for once, and this is the pricing.
That was my question regarding the cost structure. So as far as I'm concerned, is if as soon as you interact with a smart contract, there's a certain, well, if you use a public blockchain, and as soon as you interact with a smart contract, you incur costs, gas fees, right? So yeah. Are you actually using a public chain, and which one is it?
So we are currently deployed, I mean, the current demo application is deployed in Hyperledger Fabric, but we are step by step moving toward Polygon. This is also the case. We want to use a public blockchain as well. But however, we have done an estimation that based on reaching, for example, around 60,000 certificate, we can fulfill our, you know, break-even point and go into the profit phase. And this is very, very easily possible, because every laboratory is at the current time in the market, there are at least, I mean, the middle-sized laboratory at least releasing about 10 to 20,000 certificate per month. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions, we will move on to the next team. All right, thanks so much, Mina, and thanks so much, Team Tracifier. We'll now move on to Team NRverse. So I will just get Kai and Lloyd to begin their.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kai, co-founder of NRverse. Thanks a lot for having us. I will quickly share my screen. Could you please confirm that you see my presentation?
Yep.
Cool. So welcome, everyone. Thanks a lot for having us. My name is Kai, co-founder of NRverse, and we are a Web3 native offsetting community for the metaverse. So our mission is to make the metaverse a greener place. Why is this important? So the energy demand for virtual applications, everything that is linked towards the metaverse, will double until 2030, which is due to the massive computation capacities that are required. You want a small example? The Metaverse Fashion Week in 2022 consumed as much as 100 households for a full year. So the problem is there, and we are developing a solution to make this experience, the digital experience, a greener one. So our concept is that we are offering offsetting solutions for brands and corporates that are active in the metaverse. So for example, you organize an event in the metaverse, you offer avatars or NFTs, they can be offsetted through us. So we provide a proof, an NF ticket, which I will present later, that is an end-to-end verifiable proof that CO2 offsets and renewable energy certificates have been claimed. On top of this, we also offer tokens that come with the tickets, and these tokens can be distributed to the users, so the buyer of these green products. The users can collect these tokens and then redeem them within our ecosystem. So once we have different brands participating in it, they can exchange and redeem these tokens. It's financed through a 5% margin that is added on top of the offsetting price. And there's also one margin that was always where we also fund always projects that are active in climate prevention. I suggest we have a small demo. So what you will see first is the NF ticket. So this is the proof that a brand would get if they offset with us. Secondly, we go to Decentraland. This is then the user perspective where they can choose to offset their virtual experience. And then you see the app where you can get your tokens and redeem them for other goods. So I switch to OpenSea. So this is an NF ticket. It's issued to a real wallet, and you see that in the claims or in the metadata of this ticket, you see the different energy. So there's wind energy, there's solar energy from different locations. And this is embedded in a verifiable credential. So our CTO always says this is DocuSign on steroids. So you basically see the location, the type of renewable energy, the amount, you see the signature process. So this is SSI based and fully end-to-end verifiable. Now we go into the user's perspective. So we go to Decentraland. So this is me in the metaverse. That's my digital twin. And I want to enter the NRverse building. So what happens is, as soon as I enter, there is a pop-up. I'll take now my phone. I scan the QR code because I want to decarbonize my visit. What happens then is the app is opening, and on the app, I see a pop-up that says that I can decarbonize my visit and that I have to approve this transaction. So I connect my wallet, in this case with Volora. I confirm the transaction. I get my ticket with the overview of the renewable energy consumption. I pay the 3 Celos. I receive 3 NRverse tokens, confirm the transaction. And then I have my dashboard where the NRverse tokens are collected. I can directly decarbonize through the app. I see here my tickets, so also the past tickets. This is the one from Decentraland. And what I can do now is I can go to partner stores where I can redeem the tickets. So it could be Klima, where I can offset my individual footprint, but I can also go to Decentraland where I would redeem the tokens for already offsetted avatars. So going back to the presentation, why we think this is interesting, there is a willingness to buy sustainable products. So 60% of people prefer to buy sustainable products, and they also are willing to pay a price premium of 25% on that. So what we offer is basically a win-win situation for brands that enter the digital world. They can offer CO2 neutral products and earn more. And you and me, so the individuals, we can improve our green behavior, and we also be rewarded. And together we decarbonize. On the technical side, what you have seen is the green flow. This is the NF ticket where we transform PDFs into machine readable documents, end-to-end verifiable. In the background, there is a stack of smart contracts where we can manage the interaction between service providers, resellers, and customers. So this is especially relevant for the ticket that you have seen for Decentraland, because there are mostly intermediaries in between. But this is fully automated, and the payment process is done fully on chain. To give you an idea of our track record and our partnerships, we run the Blockchain Founders Group Accelerator Program, got our pre-seed funding in summer this year. Then we had our first Green Metaverse event in Decentraland in September. We are currently within SeloCamp batch 6, where we are refining our projects. And in the meantime, we also offsetted a real event in Munich with 200 participants. We have quite a good network in the digital fashion industry, but also in the event sphere, so metaverse events. What is our market entry strategy? So we are continuing what we're doing right now, so offsetting Web3 applications. And the next thing is to build a community. So this will be quite important to spread our token. And then since our technology is is very generic. We want to go beyond Web3, so products, lifestyles, and everything that is around, and that requires green proofs. Our roadmap is quite large, but we are looking for a 700K fund in beginning of 23. So what we need to do is to improve our calculator modules, do the bridging, also to CO2 offsets, have to build our backend and our front-end application. And there's also a large portion for the team and for business development. Our business model is currently project-based, so we do carbon offset footprint calculations for our clients. This is on a project-based approach, but there's also a cost plus on the turnover of green certificates and CO2 offsets. And once we have a community approach, we can also switch towards a subscription model with monthly fees. And there's also a licensing mode for a monthly decarbonization plan. Let's have a look at the team. So we are two co-founders, Loic and myself. We both have experience in the energy world. So we have both 10 years in experience in energy and in consultancy. Our CTO is Harry Behrens. He has 20 years in IT and Web3. He's also CTO of bloXmove that you will hear soon in the next pitch. We have two very strong advisors. So Richard Harless, he is the former country director of Shazam in Germany. And I guess Philipp Sandner, you know him quite well. So that was the presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward for your questions.
Thanks very much, Kai. So now I will bring the judges on for the Q&A.
I have a quick question around the whole verification process. At the first step, before it even goes on chain, how is that being managed, traced, and making sure that like only correct information then essentially follows the process?
Yeah. So we work together with certification companies. So there's one is called Ecos. They are in Scandinavia. And what we basically get, what you get currently, if you want to use renewable energy certificates, you get a PDF. And this PDF is, of course, not trustable. And we as NRverse, we cannot be the trusted intermediary, and we also don't want to be the intermediary that needs to be trusted. So the process currently looks like this. We are issuing a DID, so a decentralized identifier, to the trading company. And they sign and then we will transform the PDF into a machine readable document. So the attributes are extracted from it, and it's turned into a JSON file. And then the trading company is signing this transaction with their DID. The DID is on the website, and then you can basically trust the signatures and also the metadata of the JSON file. And once this happens, we have the attribute in machine readable and signed form, and this is then feeding into the smart contract. So we have a smart contract for each country currently, which is a bucket of the amount of renewable energy certificates that we have claimed. And as soon as we issue an NF ticket, so the one that you saw on OpenSea, automatically the smart contracts will be depleted. So it's end-to-end signed and verifiable.
Awesome, thank you.
I have a question on the user side. So you said that you already offsetted some events. So I would be really curious about how many people decided to pay some extra money to go for green energy. Maybe you can share some numbers. And the second question is, you said like people are okay with paying like 25% more. So I would be also interested in where did you get the number? And from my perspective, it feels like a high number, especially in current times where prices are rising. So yeah, this would be, I'm curious about this as well.
Yeah, I can take it. Okay. I was muting myself. Yeah, I can take this one. For the metaverse event, to be transparent, this was so this was for free. So when it comes to the willingness to pay for more sustainable goods, well, this is coming for the 25%. It's coming from the study, and Kai helped me. It was a study from.
Yeah, I think these are numbers that we get from scientific documents.
But what we have what we have observed as well in our interview process is like people, for example, for a bottle of Coke will not necessarily, will actually quite be open for a small cent increase. It depends also on what we are talking about. But if you look at consumer goods, and that's where our shift, our pivot is also coming to, is that for small event and small costs, but that are quite tangible, people are actually quite ready to pay a small fee. Look, for example, at the airline industry, they're actually ready to pay if you have the transparency. And that's also something that we got in some of our interview, that if we have the certainty that the impact is also tangible, and that it's not like just a click on a box with a green color, but that you can effectively point out to the exact renewable energy production or to the exact project, that would be something they will be ready to pay. Of course, not 200%, so we talk about few percent, but that's where it comes from. And for the events, the physical event that Kai was saying, we talk about 200 people, and the fee was paid centrally. So what we observe as well is that actually the fee will generally be already embedded in the cost, but it's just an explicit, we're offering a solution to explicit this for the brands. And so they can also claim that this is, that the impact by buying the goods, you also have this decentralized impact while the decarbonization is happening centrally. So it's not only the people, it's also to the brands that we are looking at.
Understand. Thank you so much. And maybe a second quick question. So you're not only focusing only on metaverse, but also on real life events?
Yeah. Yes, and I will let Kai compliment, but that's also a pivot that we got in the seller camp. Metaverse, well, we all know the trends at the moment, that's the first fact. It was a sweet spot for testing and having directly access to brands. So we talk about Dressix, for example, is a leader in these brands now partnering with Meta. So it was an easy way to develop a Web3 based solution. Now we are looking at physical brands, starting with the physical event, but also tangible brands like drinks brands, or even international football organization for decarbonizing some football match.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe one thing that I just want to add that we started, or that it makes for us a lot of sense to start in the Web3 world, because the understanding of our product is much easier to explain, because it's a token, it's Web3, and they directly know what to do. If we go to non-Web3 companies, it's much more complicated. But yeah, that's market entry strategy. But indeed, our technology is really generic, so you can apply it to anything else as well.
Just one last quick question, if we have another minute. I'm quite interested. You mentioned as a milestone building a community, right? And I agree, it's obviously an important, or like potentially important piece of the whole ecosystem. But how do you build a community, and what should that community achieve, right? I mean, we've seen so many communities where either bought or didn't really engage much, or didn't end up becoming users of a platform, right? So I'm just trying to understand what kind of community building and how you're building it.
Yeah. So I think the background of the consideration to go towards a community, and this was not from the beginning, evolved out of the fact that we saw that there are a lot of offsetting platforms popping up right now. And this topic of becoming sustainable and CO2 neutral becomes more and more relevant. At the same time, you need a lot of intrinsic motivation to pay to offset your individual lifestyle, basically. And at the same time, we have companies that like to brag also about being sustainable and contributing to this. And this is why we think we can make the link between brands and individuals by building this community where basically the margin, or the incentives and the offsetting, or basically the funding of the tokens comes from brands. And this basically is a high driver and incentive to join this community, because you basically automatically get an added value where you don't have to pay from your own money directly. And especially in Web3 and in this metaverse community, which is quite small, I think we are unique there, and there's no one else that does it right now. So we could become also a brand in there. And if this token and offsetting concept is recognized, it also helps us to build this community fast.
All right, that will be all for Team NRverse. Thank you so much, Luck and Kai. We will now move on to the third team.
Thank you.
So we'll get Daniel from bloXmove to pitch.
Yes. Hi everyone, Daniel here. I'm start sharing my screen. Let me know if you cannot see it, and then I will directly start with my presentation. So, hi everyone, thank you for having us here. My name is Daniel, CEO of bloXlab, the tech team behind bloXmove, the mobility company, and also NRverse. And what we are presenting here today is our NFT ticket solution for the green asset management. So in the same way as decentralized finance or the new business models on finance require specific DeFi protocols, we understand that digital services and digital events require specific digital NFT tickets. Why? Because the classical solutions are not trustful. You need to trust the other person before you actually start doing business with them. They are not efficient. They have a lot of intermediate steps, of course, that create friction, and they are by definition not decentralized. All in all, they are not exploiting the blockchain technologies. And this has been already discovered by several companies that are offering NFT ticket solutions. So why are we here? What is our speciality? That our main topic is that we have been born as a green native company, understand as we have a clear focus on green use cases, decarbonization and so on as NRverse, and also using as much as possible green technology, especially in regards with mainnets. What we offer: cryptographic ID verification for all the involved parties, user certificates and businesses, access control, payment and settlement, and the tokenization of certificates. All of this under one protocol, blockchain protocol, of course, with all the security. This protocol is customizable, so it supports almost any business logic, and we offer it as an API as a service. So the integration with already existing software for the business is pretty straightforward and simple. Partners that we have: Spherity and Ontology, key players in the digital identities world, and Celo and Energy Web as our mainnets, which has a clear focus in green and sustainable technology. All of this is, of course, packed inside an NFT, nice NFT and collectible NFT that can be traded and that can be shown with all the images as in the same way as we are used to play with NFTs around. What we already have in place, these are not pilots, these are already running projects. We have settlement for mobility use cases. We are coming from bloXmove. Mobility use cases, we need payments between users, drivers, companies. We have solved that on top on the NFT ticket protocol via token transfer, coupons, vouchers, and so on. Entry tickets, NRverse metaverse event that was decarbonized. It was combining the entry tickets and the tokenization of the carbon certificates. We provided this technology and it is validated. And we are currently working also with a German company in the Tage quota context in order to handle electric vehicle certificates of ownership and usage. Taking a quick look at the technology architecture diagram. The first thing, when you want to trade a certificate, you need to bring it on chain. So just imagine that you have solar panels at home, you're producing green energy, you get a certificate for this green energy that you're producing. You need to convert it into asset on chain. This is what the NFT cert does. And most important, the NFT cert ensures that this certificate is unique, so cannot be resell, cannot be duplicated, and cannot be sold off-chain. This is the most important part of the NFT cert. Once the certificate is on chain, so included in our NFT ticket protocol, of course, there is a specific business logic attached to the asset. It is not the same if this specific asset is sold as once, if it can be sliced, or if it should be aggregated with others. And then when it is there, the customer can directly buy it and present it to any service provider that accepts it as a proof or as a payment. The service provider only needs to trust the NFT ticket protocol and has the mechanism to, in real time, verify what is happening and receive the corresponding payment if it applies. On the right side, what we see is a screenshot of a OpenSea NFT. This NFT is the one that the user is receiving, and expanded here below, we have the properties that also NRverse was showing before with regard to the specific certificate, where this energy was consumed, and so on and so on. Important point here, These attributes are IPFS attributes, so these are not on chain. So let's say they are not blockchain secured. What we do in our protocol is that the key parameters, the key attributes for the working of the business model are on chain, or at least if this is not compliant with data policies, the proof or a verification method that allows the people know that these attributes have not been modified. This is really important to understand. So what are we working on right now is expanding a little bit our community, making us a little bit more known. So we are working on 2 different demos. The first one will be hosted in our bloxmove.com webpage. So the users can play around, receive an NFT ticket, redeem it for services. The second one is what NRverse mentioned before in the context of the Celo Bootcamp. Both of them will be ready during this month. And yeah, we just hope that the people enjoy it. And the last one is an NFT collection that we are working in as probably some source of funding as well, in which we are creating art. NFTs, we always relate it with art, but this is art with utility in the sense of governance and revenue sharing from the protocol that we also want to share with the community. Interesting thing, all these mechanisms are built on top of the NFT ticket itself. The revenue, by the way, that the protocol is making is, as almost any protocol on chain, based on fees per use. And we can also discuss how integration would work afterwards. In order to grow, just one idea to keep in mind, we are B2B ready. Our solution is already deployed, is API as a service, so pretty easy to integrate. We have projects and partners that have already used it. So let's say this pilot phase is over and we are ready to accept new projects, new partners, and work on new solutions. Also, whatever is green, whatever use case that has not been addressed yet, we are, of course, more than open to work on it and to explore possible solutions here. The team, me on the left, CEO and founder of BloXlab, Harry Behrens as CTO, and Sophia Redinger, CCO, all the 3 of us coming from bloXmove side, and also Loic Tillman and Kai from NRverse as sustainability advisors, bringing a lot of experience in the energy sector and green technologies. You can reach out in the bloXmove webpage and usual social networks. And thank you very much and wait for your questions.
Thanks very much for that, Daniel. Now we'll move to the Q&A.
Hi, maybe very easy question. How do you plan to earn money?
Well, yeah, as I said, this is there are 2 sources of revenue, right? The first one, this is a protocol. So of course, whenever the protocol is used, there's a fee that needs to be paid. It is a protocol, so we are not expecting 10% fees. Of course, we are in the range of 1, 2, 3%. So this is the first business model that we have. When it comes to integration, this is API as a service, but of course, not all the companies are ready to integrate their APIs in their system because API ultimately is Web3 and there are some special tricks. So we are also offering technical support on the integration of the systems and if needed in the deployment of the specific business logic into smart contracts. But the main source of revenue, ideally, this is decentralized, so anyone should be able to connect to it. So the main source of revenue should be the fees by using the protocol itself.
Okay, thank you.
Pascal,
Yeah,
Tobias, do you have any? No, I just wanted to check that question.
Oh yeah. Maybe for me, just a follow-up question. So you already mentioned for this NF tickets, you've talked with Celo and also one of the companies that pitched earlier. But how have you tested the need for it with other protocols so far? Well, like what's your funnel right now? Your outreach, like with how many companies have you talked with?
Well, there is of course there is a need in the market for the NF tickets. There are companies that are working on that. The key differentiation with them is our green focus. For that, we are partnering with NRverse, and this was, let's say, our first benchmark. There is market for that. People, as they validate the use case, is willing to use this green technology, integrate the NFT ticket there, and this is what differentiates us from the other competitors in the market. As I said before, we are coming from bloXmove as well, so this is also an important use case. the tickets for the green mobility, those are also in place. So more than us as a use case provider, let's say, we are the technology behind these use cases. So it is the use case itself, the one that needs to be profitable, the one that needs to be accepted by the community. We are just the enablers. We are just empowering the solution, and this is our main delivery here.
But from an outreach perspective, like, I mean, your NF ticket probably would work best right now with companies such as earlier, like metaverse events. So does it mean your in your initial growth stage you would reach out to a lot of metaverse projects, or on what other industries do you see this to be a fit? Because right now you could not, for instance, integrate with an Eventbrite or something like this because you don't have fiat payment rates, so the average user could not use it. So it probably must be metaverse related.
Exactly. I mean, the fiat payment is always tricky, especially in regulated markets as Europe, let's say. And converting this payment internally with our master smart contracts on is also possible. This is actually what we are doing in Nigeria. We are working on a pilot right now for the mobility in Nigeria, in which the users, of course, pay with credit card, pay with bank accounts. We have on and off ramping partners, so we are converting this payment into crypto, and then we are handling all the logic frictionless on chain. But you're right. Of course, regulation is always a problem. It's always tricky to handle with. But we are expecting this to be in Europe sooner or later, and other evolved markets, let's say. So we don't see a problem here. It is true that there is a second partner, which is the on and off ramping partner, but we can handle it everything much faster and frictionless on chain by just connecting this fiat to crypto part.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
What's the biggest challenge then for you guys right now in the short term? That's over the next 6 weeks.
Well, the biggest challenge, of course, is to find more projects and more protocols that want to implement the technology and work on that. As I said, we are ready to implement it because this has been tested. This is API as a service, no real need for big adaptation, but we need to find the projects that are willing to do that and the projects that are aligned with our strategy. As I said, we are green company with green focus, so use cases must be green by our nature, and this is what we're working on right now.
So all the projects you talked to and they not end up coming in, what was the predominant reason for it?
Sorry?
All the projects you talked to and they refuse to use your service, what was the main reason for that?
Well, actually, we don't have a real project that said that they do not want to work with us. And we have a couple, maybe because of the timing, or that is what they say, but most of them are open to work, open to validate the technology, and open to test it. It is true that it's difficult to create trust in the market right now, especially with classic companies, whenever you talk about
But there must be a reason, right? Because eventually, if you talk to 100 projects or like 100 potential customers, then if there's no issue with working with you, then all 100 would probably be working with you, right? Then it's just a matter of, from an integration perspective, of getting them on the platform, which obviously then requires tech, time, and talent, which I understand. But are they saying, like, you mentioned trust, now you mentioned the current environment. So what is the key issue? They're saying, okay, I'm not trusting a startup at this point, or like I'm not doing anything because it's green, or like I'm not doing anything because right now I'm not launching anything in this market. So it's hard for you to actually engage with them. But what is sort of the key issue right now?
Well, the main issue is that we are in an early stage, so we have not addressed these 100 clients yet in order to do the proper market test. We have been working with NRverse, they use it. We are working with a couple of German companies, they are using it. And this is the biggest challenge that we have right now. We need to address, we need to grow, we need to reach other companies and offer what we have. Because as you mentioned, we see very little friction and very little excuses, let's say, not to use the protocol, because it is actually bringing a lot of value, especially in the part of the certification that I think there was a question in the pitch before, how to ensure that the certificate is on chain, how to ensure that this is not duplicated, and so on. So we are also working with the companies that are issuing this certificate, and we are including a proof of this certificate on chain. So this means that in the same case as when you're using DocuSign for a PDF, there's a signature that you validate. our API takes this signature, validates the issue of the signature, validates the person that is presenting this, but is also checking and validating a status on chain. So if this certificate have already been used, if this certificate have already been sold or burned for whatever reason, there is a status there and cannot be reused again. So this also ensures the uniqueness, and this is why we've been mentioned that it's really important to have attributes on chain, and it's really important to be able to certify that, okay, we are trusted, the protocol is trusted, and you do not need to trust anything else but the protocol.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah. So we'll move on to the last one, the last team. And in the interest of time, I will just bring Mutombe on now. In the meantime, for the judges, I'd like to remind you to fill in your score sheets so that you'll be able to get the scores by the end of the pitch. Thank you so much. Mutombe, can go ahead to share your screen.
Brilliant. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. My name is Mutombe Kariuki, co-founder and CEO of Fastaga. So 90% of global businesses are SMEs, and they hire about 50% of the world's working population. We at Fastaga are a Web3 commerce platform inspired by Africa, but we're globally focused. $1 trillion. That is the value of mobile money that was transacted globally last year. 70% of that, that's $700 billion, was transacted in sub-Saharan Africa. However, the 100 million small and medium enterprises that are there on the African continent do not have the tools to be able to analyze this mobile money data that is created to be able to grow their businesses, to increase sales, and to do better customer engagement so they can grow. African businesses deserve better, and the world's businesses deserve better. Small and medium enterprises, particularly those on social commerce, are the ones who are having this challenge. This is also a typical market in most emerging markets, and most of them use mobile money to do their transactions. Mobile money is what a lot of African economies have done to leapfrog the challenge of not having bank accounts. So people use their phone numbers to be able to send and receive money peer-to-peer, almost like what is being done now in crypto. So Africa is already 17 years ahead. So it's a ripe market. Our solution for these businesses is that they will be easily able to analyze that data from the current challenge that they have. Today, the process of being able to analyze their data and identify customers and do loyalty programs is an 8-step journey, which is a very long journey for them. We are streamlining this into a 4-step journey where they can be able to have a basic CRM, analyze their data. We're able to run an ML model, pick out their top customers. They can be able to send coupons in the form of tokens to them. And we have a wallet, which is going to be able to be a discovery and a redemption wallet for the consumer. So B2B2C. Our solution in a nutshell is a social commerce platform that provides discount tokens powered by the blockchain. Businesses will be able to analyze data, onboard users, answer queries, upsell products, and optimize logistics. Customers will be able to access the mobile wallet, which is also our app, where they can redeem coupons, discover products, and engage with social commerce businesses. We have a strong team for this. Myself, I have experience in over 20 countries, worked on 5 continents. I have been able to go through working in the e-commerce and data space in Japan through my master's in Kobe. My co-founder and CTO has a PhD from Georgia Tech and a master's from the MIT Media Lab, and has worked in the Harvard Data Pipeline department. My CFO has a lot of experience in the data space, having graduated in big data and analytics from IE in Spain, and has worked in consulting in India and in emerging markets. In terms of competition, there are a couple of companies we look at, but none of them are hitting the basic CRM for social commerce companies. This is companies which are selling on Instagram, on TikTok, all these creators on different platforms. And no one is building a very good consumer app that can onboard the next billion onto Web3. In terms of traction, we've signed an engagement with Kenya's largest SME organization that has over 1 million SME members. They have picked us as a partner for digitization of SMEs in the country. We've been able to onboard 5 of those businesses who have shared with us 800,000 transactions, which we have helped them to visualize. And then we have 85 other companies from webinars we've been holding with over 400 SMEs, that these 85 high potential companies, we're slowly understanding them and onboarding them. And previously from our data analytics work, we've made a revenue of 15,000 over the last year. We've won the Democratizing AI award at the Berlin Science Week, that is in 2020. We have a collaboration with NVIDIA through the Inception program they have. We have initial capital through going through the CVVC accelerator out of Zug, Switzerland. And we're strongly working also with the government of Kenya through the Ajira program to work with young people who will help us to onboard more companies. Our business model is simple. A basic data analytics report from one of the companies will be $50. So we take it that for within the 1 million businesses, if we're only able to attract 1% of those, that's 10,000 businesses. That is going to be an ARR, a monthly MRR of about $500,000. Coupon redemption. So as they create the coupons and send them, they'll pay us 1% of the value of the discount coupon that they're sending. They'll pay us a customer discovery of 10% of the sale when they're able to use our platform to discover a new customer by us running a model on the consumer app phone to understand whether the person using the app is a potential customer for a business. And then we identify them to the business. So we employ our share data to earn model. And then we also see an opportunity to do DeFi for the SME loans. We're currently looking for partnerships so that we can be able to reach 1 million wallets and 100 million SMEs. We're looking for partnership with SMEs associations, African fintechs, and mobile phone providers to enable us to reach this milestones of 1 million wallets and 100,000 SMEs. We are looking for 3.5 million in funding. 50% of that would go to talent and ops, 20% to product, and 30% for marketing. Thank you very much, and I'm open to your questions.
Thanks very much for that. I will bring the judges on for any questions that they may have.
I would have a straight up question regarding your mobile wallet. So you mentioned earlier that you got this mobile wallet where you deposit the tokens as well, but this mobile wallet is not connected with the traditional financial system, right? So you don't store fiat accounts there, fiat money.
No.
Mm-hmm. And the transaction data, so you were mentioning earlier already that basically you need to connect to transaction data. If I think, for instance, about Kenya, right? Everybody uses M-Pesa maybe to pay and send money. So that means you need to partner with these wallets, and these wallets give you access to their payments data, and based on this data, you distribute the tokens, right?
Thank you for the question. What I like about what you said is you understand already that Kenya has M-Pesa. So for us, the app, the redemption, coupon redemption and discovery app is going to be our wallet, right? That's going to be a Web3 wallet where the customer can receive an NFT and as well as the points, the discount coupons. So we are not integrating with the wallets of the telecom providers. What we are doing is we are asking for permission from the consumer who has our app to run a model on the phone and identify from the M-Pesa messages whether they are a potential customer for a business. So they share data with us, right? And after sharing data with us, we are able to identify them, and then we'll be able to reward them with points based off of the commission we get from the business once the business sends them a coupon and identifies them as a potential customer, and they redeem that. So they're earning from their data.
So a question that might follow up on what you just talked. So you said that the users will get like a token, and can the token be used, or the vouchers or whatever they get, in between the businesses?
So that is the ecosystem we are building up. Right now, it's going to be between that particular business that has sent them the discount. So, but in future, what we want to build out is an ecosystem where people can exchange this. And for one business, for example, you've already had enough interaction with this business, but because you've accumulated points, you can sell them on the market and get points for that.
Okay, thank you. So I have another question, maybe more on the team. I just saw it because the Falling Walls was just the last 3 days, and you just pointed out that you're our Falling Walls winner in 2020, but I think you founded the company in 2021. So was it with a different project, or am I?
We founded the company, registered in Delaware in March of 2020.
Oh, okay.
So we won in 2020. So we didn't get to go to Berlin in 2020 because of the pandemic, but we ended up getting a ticket to attend the 2021.
So you won the prize with the current company?
Yes.
Okay, understand.
Yeah. Yes.
Very interesting.
All right, we'll wrap up the Q&A here. And all right, Tobias, you can ask your question. Thanks so much.
Just filling up this format, I would love to quickly understand on the tech side.
Yes.
How much has already been built, and what is sort of actual functioning, right? I'm not sure if I fully caught this.
Yes. Thank you for your question. So in terms of our product roadmap, so what we've already built out is the analytics platform. So the onboarded companies already have the dashboard where they can see and identify their top customers, how the customer journey has been with those people, how much those people have spent, so they can be able to trigger that after this person has spent, let's say, 100 euros, then I can be able to offer them a discount. Now, what we are doing is we are building out the ramp where we can have the app. So we have a demo app, but then we haven't launched it out into the market with the wallet. So that is something that we need to do. We've planned to do in Q1 of next year. We're currently talking with Celo, also having conversations with Solana, also having conversations with Cardano on like what blockchain, what layer one to use. We haven't committed to any because we really want to understand them first. So that's where we are in terms of the product roadmap.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now we will, in the interest of time, we will just quickly conclude the demo day. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. Let me just bring on the rest of the participants as well so that we can announce who are the top few.
Perfect.
So, yeah. All right. So thanks everyone for being part of our pitch event. We're excited to share that the scores have come in for the top 2 startups, and we are looking at first place, Mutambe from Fast Tagger. So thanks so much. I think the judges all felt that you did a great job, and your pitch was smooth. It was concise. It was informative. And in second place, we'd like to award it to Tracifier, who have also delivered a very smooth pitch. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Now I'll pass the time to Max to wrap up this session.
Yes, thank you. Also, congrats from my side, Mutambe and Mina. Very well pitched and very solid. So thanks for that. I want to briefly share again my screen to close up this session. 1 second. Okay, now you should be able to see my screen. So again, thanks everyone for joining. Just as a heads up, also thanks to the jury members, Sarah, Tobias, and Pascal, for joining today and investing your time, to see some of the startups that we invited today. I want to briefly mention that next month in December 15th, we will have the demo day. Again, as mentioned earlier, we run our own incubation program where together with entrepreneurs, we found crypto startups. And next month, it is, the final season where we will make a decision whether we will provide funds to the final teams. And if you are interested in seeing the winners, then feel free to tune in to our demo day. Again, December 15th, feel free to scan this QR code. And then finally, also, we would highly appreciate if you could give, short feedback on how you liked today's event. We will run this event on a monthly basis. We will invite many startups. If you have any clue on potential startups that you want to see on this this event, then feel free to reach out to us directly. Otherwise, again, thanks for joining in. Thanks for the jury's time. Thanks for the startups' time. And I hope to see you next month again. So have a good Wednesday evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks all of you.
Bye.
Bye.